Hey everyone, it's Sue at the Marion Library, and I'm here with some new releases, and it's a really interesting mix of science fiction, romance, thrillers, historical fiction, lots of great stuff. So first I'm going to talk about Fast Girls by Elise Hooper. This is out in paperback, and it is historical fiction about a women's Olympic team from 1936 who traveled to the Summer Olympics in Nazi Germany. And it's about three women who are on the track and field team for the United States. They each come from different backgrounds, different places in their lives, and they are competing in the Olympics in 1936. So Fast Girls, if you want some historical fiction that is around World War II, just before World War II, but really interesting sports angle with the Olympics in this one. And we have from Christina Schwartz, who wrote Drowning Ruth. We have a book called Bonnie, and this is a fictional account of Bonnie and Clyde fame, her life leading up to the day that she was murdered in her car with Clyde. And it talks about her life growing up and how she wanted to be an actress. She really wanted to leave her mark on the world, and with the way that she grew up and the circumstances, she was denied that opportunity the way that maybe she would have wanted to go about doing that, by maybe going to Hollywood and being an actress. So she ends up falling in with Clyde, and they become the infamous Bonnie and Clyde. So this is historical fiction called Bonnie. And we have Hank Green, who returns with a beautifully foolish endeavor. This is the sequel to his book from last year called An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. And he is the brother of John Green, who is famous for his teen books. And Hank wrote a sequel to An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, and this starts right after the other book ended. I confess I did not read the first book, so I had to do a little digging to kind of understand what this one was about. But those people who read the first one will be really eager to read this. This is mostly about what happens after these robots leave Earth, and what happens to April May, who is the main character in the first book, what happens to her friends. This book is told through the 5 different viewpoints of all of her friends, and it talks about social media, what it means to be friends, and how to deal with something as strange as something from another planet, from outer space, coming down to Earth. So it's a little bit of science fiction, a little bit of contemporary, but it is a sequel to his earlier work. And this is a fun one. I would say definitely this is one that you would probably want to read on a vacation if you're looking for something fun to read. This is called One to Watch, and I actually have this on my list. This is by Kate Stamen London, and it is about Bea Schumacher, who is an influencer. She is a plus-size influencer, and she loves to watch this reality show called Main Squeeze, which is just like our Bachelorette shows. But she's really unhappy that everyone on the show is always one size, and she wants them to be more diverse and show women her size on the show. They deserve love just as much as anybody else. So guess what? She gets a call to be on the show, and she thinks this is not going to be a problem. I'm going to go on with my agenda. I will show people what I want to show them, and I'm not going to fall in love. But of course, as the show starts, she finds out that it's not as easy as it looks. So, One to Watch looks like a really fun book. Then Linda Castillo is back with Outsider. This is one of her Kate Burkholder mysteries that are set in Amish country. And it looks like Kate is the chief of police, and a friend of hers that she went to the police academy with shows up and clearly is hiding from someone or something, and Kate has to figure out what's going on. So if you are a fan of Linda Castillo, she does have another one out called Outsider. Then we have some science fiction, and this is by Kate Elliott. It's called Unconquered Sun, and this looks really interesting. It says on the cover, this is the space opera you've been waiting for. It also says, take the brilliance and cunning courage of Princess Leia, add in a dazzling futuristic setting where pop culture and propaganda are one and the same, and hold on tight. So this is about a woman, her name is Princess Sun. She's finally come of age. Her mother is the Queen Marshal, who has managed to bring peace to the community that they live in, and it's very successful. Everything's going great, but of course there are people who don't want it to go so great, and they want to take over, and they want to eliminate the Princess Sun so that she cannot take over when her time comes, and they can actually take over and change everything around. So Unconquerable Sun by Kate Elliott. She writes a lot of science fiction, fantasy, and she also has written quite a bit of young adult books. So give this one a try if you're looking for a different kind of science fiction fantasy book. And then we have Alex North and the Shadows. And I read his first book called The Whisper Man last year, and it was really good. It's kind of a mystery and a thriller with a little bit of paranormal wrapped into it. Definitely the kind of book that gives you the creeps, but in a good way. So The Shadows is about a teenager whose name is Charlie Crabtree, and Charlie Crabtree did some really horrible things 25 years before. Paul Adams remembers that case because Charlie Crabtree was his friend, and Charlie's victims were Paul's friends as well. Paul has slowly put his life back together. It's 25 years later. He goes back to take care of his mother, and his mother keeps telling him that there's somebody in the house, but she's suffering from dementia, so of course he's not sure if she's imagining it or if someone is really in the house. There's also a copycat in the nearby town. So Paul is starting to kind of get really uneasy because Charlie Crabtree disappeared all those years ago and was never found, and it may be that he has returned. So The Shadows by Alex North. That's what I've got this round. Enjoy!